Welcome to Update TV. In this exclusive extended report, we bring you the full story behind the recent 12-day conflict between Iran and Israel. A confrontation that threatened to destabilize not just the Middle East, but global peace. From heavy bombardments and nuclear fears to civilian casualties and fragile diplomacy, we take you deep into the front lines of this complex geopolitical crisis. It began with rising tensions over Iran's suspected nuclear ambitions and missile tests. For weeks, satellite images and intelligence reports pointed to activity at several Iranian nuclear facilities, triggering alarm in Tel Aviv and Washington. Then, on June 13, 2025, air raid sirens blared across Isfahan and Natanz. Israeli fighter jets launched a surprise strike on what they claimed were nuclear enrichment sites. Iran responded within hours. Missile barrages, drone swarms, and cyber attacks targeted Israeli military bases and civilian infrastructure. In just 3 days, the region was plunged into one of the deadliest cross-border wars in a decade. Military radio reports confirm that Iran fired over 550 ballistic missiles and launched more than 1,000 drones targeting Israeli positions. Israel retaliated with overwhelming force, striking deep into Iranian cities including Arak, Natanz, and Isfahan. Israel's Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu later claimed the destruction of several key nuclear facilities. But Iranian officials denied these claims, stating the attacks only damaged above-ground infrastructure, and that their core uranium stockpiles and centrifuges remain operational. The death toll mounted. Iran reported 610 citizens killed, and over 4,700 injured by the time the ceasefire was announced on June 24th. Israel confirmed 28 fatalities, most from missile attacks in southern cities. Meanwhile, in Gaza, another tragedy unfolded. On June 25th, just a day after the ceasefire, Israeli forces opened fire on Palestinians gathering at a humanitarian aid station. Eyewitnesses described a scene of horror. One survivor, Mohammed Abu Nada, said they were told it was safe to collect food packages until gunfire erupted. Dr. Ashraf Albaya, an orthopedic specialist, described the wounds as catastrophic, mostly to the chest and abdomen. The death toll from that single incident reached 56 civilians. The UN Human Rights Office has called for an independent investigation, suggesting the incident may constitute a war crime. Leaders across the globe responded. In Iran, President Masoud Pezeshkian addressed the nation. Iran remains strong. We did not start this war, but we stood our ground. Now, we turn to rebuilding. He urged ministries to shift toward reconstruction and aid delivery, but he also warned Iran would not hesitate to respond to further aggression. During a phone call with Malaysian Prime Minister Anwar Ibrahim, Pezeshkian reiterated Iran's commitment to the ceasefire on the condition that Israel holds its fire. On the other side, Israel is re-strategizing. IDF Chief of Staff Hallel Zamir announced a shift of focus to Gaza, declaring that the next mission is to rescue hostages and eradicate Hamas from power. Prime Minister Netanyahu, speaking with Fox News, went further. He hinted that the attacks on Iran weren't just military but political. He claimed 80% of Iranians support the fall of their current regime and suggested this war could spark a revolution in Tehran. Amid the chaos, the United States played a powerful, if controversial, role. President Donald Trump authorized airstrikes on 3 Iranian nuclear sites during the peak of the conflict. But reports from the Pentagon suggest limited effectiveness. Intelligence sources revealed that the attacks did not destroy Iran's nuclear infrastructure, only delayed it. Former U.S. Ambassador Daniel Shapiro called the strikes symbolic but not strategic. Meanwhile, a former Pentagon official warned the leak of internal intel could endanger national security and human assets on the ground. The ceasefire was brokered under pressure, largely due to mediation by President Trump. However, speaking at the NATO summit in The Hague, Trump reignited tensions. He stated bluntly, "If Iran restarts uranium enrichment, we will strike again." He claimed credit for halting a massive Israeli operation just hours before it was launched. And while he praised the Iranian people, he warned that nuclear weapons would not be tolerated. Beyond numbers, the human toll is staggering. In Iran, hospitals are overwhelmed. Schools and mosques lie in ruins. Hundreds of homes have been deemed uninhabitable. In Israel, bomb shelters are full. Thousands have been evacuated from southern towns. Electricity grids and water systems were hit by Iranian cyber attacks. Displacement, despair, death, the cost of war, paid, as always, by ordinary people. So what's next? Diplomacy? Retaliation? Regime change? Both Iran and Israel say they want peace, but each accuses the other of violating the ceasefire. The United States now walks a fine line between diplomacy and deterrence, between preventing nuclear escalation and avoiding another endless war. The world is watching. Energy prices are surging. International markets are shaken. Europe is scrambling to reassess its Iran nuclear deal commitments. The UN has called for restraint, but its voice is largely ignored. What began as a regional flashpoint now threatens global stability. For now, the missiles have stopped flying, but the damage remains. The wounds, physical, emotional, political, are far from healed. This was more than a military confrontation. It was a test of diplomacy, power, and humanity. We will continue to follow this story and bring you the latest developments as they happen. You've been watching Update TV. Stay informed, stay aware, stay safe.